So, Fehinity African Theater Ensemble, or FATE as we call it, is a young company with a vision to bring African theater and the experiences of Africans to the stage in Chicago.
The reason why I like FATE is because, before, I've been in Chicago for a long time, and, Nigerians, just up until recently, for the last maybe 10 years, I started seeing Nigerians starting to do their thing and starting to make their mark in the Chicagoland area. And, one of those things are, activities, parties, sports, and then theater.
The beginning of the company was actually with a group of students at Truman College who formed an organization called Motherland.
And it was necessarily the first time in Chicago that I know of that young African students wanted to put together an organization and a play that was rooted in the African tradition.
So it's all kind of coming, hand in hand, and, you kind of start, seeing people that you kind of grown up with who really haven't, you never knew they had acting ability, but you kind of seeing oh my gosh, they do have acting ability and they're really, really good.
As one of their programs, they decided to put up a play, and they did Olarotimi's The Gods Are Not to Blame. And the experience was particularly, transformative for many of them in the cast, being African immigrants, and also for the audience that came to the show, because it was the first time that many would experience African theater as they imagine it happening right here in Chicago. So naturally, that experience lit a spark. Motherland went on to produce other plays that the immigrant community came out to see, and a few years later, two of its members, Kunle Akinboju and Chinedu Gokwe, formed FATE, Fehinity African Theater Ensemble. Now, that beginning with those students, and at that time, really set the foundation of this company as a community ensemble, and one that engages the voices of Africans in the community in the theatrical process. And also with the goal to facilitate the development of emerging artists. FATE's plays run the gamut from traditional or classical cultural masterpieces like Wole Soyinka's Death and the King's Horseman, to a collection of love stories that features Zimbabwean works and writers, to even more recently, Dipo's Notes that explores Facebook as a medium for storytelling.
Dipo's Notes I really liked it. I really liked it.
Dipo's Notes is about taking posts from Facebook and then transforming that into a play. And believe you me, we got great responses from people who put their experiences out there on Facebook. Goodness gracious, Facebook has about, 900 million users now?
We believe that African theater runs across a range. It can be the traditional canonical pieces that we are familiar with, to emergent works of contemporary writers, contemporary playwrights. And that is what we want to do. We want people to expand their thinking about African theater.
But I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed working with the people on set and off set.
So we have a concept called Theater at Iyanze that turns the community space into a theater space. The idea is a dinner and theater experience in collaboration with Iyanze African restaurants. And the audience come, they experience African cuisine and also a full stage production. The performance we're raising money for now is Enyo, written by Wale Ogunyemi and being directed by Shino Odukoya, a Nigerian director based right here in Chicago. The play is an African adaptation of the Western medieval play called The Summoning of Every Man. In Yoruba, every man translates into Enyo. The play explores the notion that at the end of life, every man will have to account for his good and bad deeds before God. In the play, the character of Enyo is followed by a retinue of allegorical characters personifying beauty, death, character, wealth, strength, and so on. Now, the question is that at the end of his life, which or who of these characters will follow him in death?
That's why once again I'll say, please join us in this endeavor. Help us out. Fate is something positive.
Fate will bring you what you expect and don't expect African theater to be. So please help us to make our goal.
Okay.